Boys Don't Cry is the true story of Brandon Tina, a trans man who was killed for being trans and for being in love with a girl. What am I going to do? Am I going to go rest? Am I going to take some chicken soup? Am I going to go to the doctor? Do I have something wrong? It's telling you you've got to do something about it. It's protecting you. Threatening suicide, expressing her song. My mom yesterday, she has dementia. She's 86, failing health. She lost her husband. She's in grieving, and she told me, "I wish I would go to sleep and not wake up." It was kind of shocking to me because she's never really been that explicit about wanting to die, and she won't even say she's depressed. She won't even say she's sad. She'll say she's low or she's in a mood. She's so afraid to be depressed as if that will kill her. And we're so afraid of our emotions that we don't want to talk about them. And we're so afraid of suicide, a desperate emotion, a deadly emotion, that we just think, I can't talk about it. It's going to kill me. I won't be able to stop the feeling. So I just said, I really didn't know what to say. I thought, whatever I say, it's going to be wrong. And in a sense, I thought, yeah, it might be kind of nice if you did that because your life is miserable. And I get to watch you die every day. With dementia, it's just a progressive disease. And she's losing her memory and she's getting weaker and she can't eat. She doesn't like to eat. She can't taste anything. It doesn't taste good. And she doesn't want to live. So in my compassion part, I think to myself, yeah, it would really be better for you and for me because I'm not going to suffer and you're not going to suffer. So if you've ever thought that about somebody who's in pain, a cancer patient, or somebody had a divorce, or a kid that lost their parents, or in a car crash, or an alcoholic that died of an overdose, and you know them. We all know somebody that died of an overdose. My ex-girlfriend did. Uh, it hurts. It hurts that I couldn't help her, and I still feel that grief. And you got to feel that. Don't push that stuff down. Don't do it. It'll puke back up. It's like a pot of boiling water. You put a top on it, put a lid on it, it will boil over. That top will pop off there. The more you press it down, the harder that pressure is going to build up. Listen to your emotions, allow them to be without judgment, and then you can take action on them. You don't have to do what they tell you to do. Now, if you can't get rid of them, then you got a pathology possibly, and you need some help. So you could call the suicide line, or you talk to whoever the professional, make an appointment, talk to your friend. You know, they're gonna listen to you. They probably won't say the right thing. Let me tell you, most of us don't know what to say. Like I didn't know what to say when my mom said I'm gonna go to sleep and not wake up. I didn't know what to say. And I'm a counselor. I'm trained. It's my mom. It's different than someone who's in my counseling room and they're not a family. This is way different, friends, and you know it if you've ever had to be confronted by this. So you don't always have to say anything. Like when someone dies, you're like one of my nieces' husband died at age 40, and she has 5 kids. She's a widow now. She's a beautiful, lively, lovely, kind, compassionate, giving Christian girl. To me, she's a girl. She's 40 something or whatever. I keep saying whatever. I'm really trying not to do that. It's when I don't know what to say. I say whatever. You can think of the word. I don't know. I'm not a thesaurus here. Thesaurus. I'm an English teacher. I should know this. So, anyways, it's just shock to everybody. And the word was, we were talking at the funeral saying, this is crazy. What the hell happened? Why? Why did this happen? It just doesn't make sense. It's a really great guy, this beautiful person. And they had a wonderful marriage and a lovely family life and, just good things. It's just bam. Who thought that was a good idea? You don't know. You don't know. So what do I say to this? I did not know what to say to her. And I love this girl. She's just the most radiant light. And you go to the funeral, you don't know what to say. So I saw her walk in the room. I'm standing there like feeling like a dummy, feeling like an idiot, scared, frozen. She came over to me. That's the kind of person she is. She came over to me and hugged me. That's the kind of person she is. In her pain and grief, she is still giving as a person. And that's going to be a protective factor for her to stay alive. She has that giving spirit. Anyways, I just said what I said. I said, I'm so sorry. And I think I said you don't deserve this. And I don't, I don't, you don't, I don't know. I don't know what to say. And she says, I know. It's okay. She's comforting me. Later on, I knew in the at the dinner, I started thinking about what I really wanted to tell her, and I was afraid to tell her this. But I thought, you know what? I don't see her that often. We don't have this social connection. We never really have. She's my niece, and I'm not really involved in the family life as much. So I've always felt this. I always loved her. Such a special, and she's been so special to me. And I just went up to her finally. I asked my family and said, should I talk to her? Should I tell her what I'm feeling? Yeah, we'll talk to her. So I did. I got down on my knees as she's sitting at the table. I said, I gotta say this to you because I don't know when I'm gonna see you again. I don't see you that often. I just want you to know I've always loved you and you've always been special to me. And that one time you hugged me, felt I just felt your love, and it's just this powerful love. And you're such a giving, compassionate person. You don't deserve this, and I'm so sorry. And I'm praying for you, and I wish I could do more for you. And she just again, she's comforting me. She's looking down at me like she felt sorry for me, but she felt my words, and I had to do that. So you don't have to know what to say. You'll say it. Acting anxious or agitated. That's a tough one to know about, because we're all anxious at some point. But this is probably and often a more exaggerated anxiety, like can't sit still and they're not be able to concentrate. They're not listening to you at the dinner table, telling loved ones goodbye. This is a good sign. This is a powerful sign. Hey, if I don't see you again, I love you and you've meant a lot to me in my life. That's a sign. I've said that before. They write a note before they go because they don't want to leave people without knowing that they love them and it's not their fault. Referring to death via poetry, writings, or artwork. I had a student once. I was teaching ninth grade in the inner city, and I had an assignment for them. I said, I want you to tell me some feelings and what's going on in your life. Give me a story. It was a story assignment. They had to tell a story. And I said, I don't care what it is. I'm not going to judge you. There's no right or wrong answers. Just tell me what you're feeling. This girl, every slide of PowerPoint was pictures of death, dying, and she talked about pain and how she was going to exist with this. How could she exist? And I had to tell her parents. I had to tell the school principal. As a mandated reporter, I have to do something about that. Now, whether she was serious about it, whether you're going to do it, or whether it was just these thoughts, those are nothing to ignore. So we told her dad, and her dad said, "There's nothing wrong with her. She's fine. She's going to be okay. We're not going to do anything about it." What am I going to do now? Conversing with the principal, we said we did our duty. They're not doing nothing about it. We can't force them. We could have called children's services, but we decided not to. But she's still alive, I think. I don't know. I'm thinking she is because we did something about it. We let her know we're hearing you, and that's a lot of what those of us who have suicide temptations and thoughts and intentions. It, a lot of it is just being heard. I hear your pain. I see you're in pain. I cannot help you out of it. I tell my daughter a lot, I can't fix you. I cannot save you. This is up to you. I will always be there and support you in whatever way I can, mostly just listening. As a counselor, that's what you do. You just listen and hear the person. I hear your pain. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's like. I cannot experience it like you do. No one knows your pain. And if you're suicidal, no one knows your pain. They don't know what you're going through. It is a fact. So when someone says, and don't tell someone, I know what you're going through. Even if you've been through a divorce or lost a loved one. Now, if you've lost a loved one and they lost a loved one, you can say, I have lost a loved one. So I know a little bit what you're going through, but you don't know exactly what they're going through. Indeed, you can't equal their pain at the moment, no matter what you've been through. But they can respect that you've been through that, and that helps. But listening, folks, listening, that is so much more powerful than saying anything. They need to be heard. They heard, that person heard me, and they didn't judge me, and they didn't shame me, and maybe they care. Maybe someone does care. Maybe there is a way through this. Maybe I can sustain myself through this dark valley of death. I remember a pastor once when I was going through the suicidal in junior high. Actually, after, I think it was after the suicide attempt. Not yeah, suicide attempt. I didn't succeed, obviously. Fortunately, I didn't see it, because my life turned around after that. I found Jesus Christ in a very, very, very real personal way. He came into my life in a very powerful, visceral way, very physical way, and that changed my soul around and gave me hope and gave me forgiveness for all the shame and things that I was feeling, the guilt, shame, guilt. Fuck that. That's no good. It's no good. You can't have it. Can't have it. No, can't have it. That's Robert De Niro. He would say that to you. Don't let that kill you. Shame and guilt, it will not help you. So guilt is feeling bad about something you did. Shame is feeling bad about you. There's something wrong with you, and that's not true. You did something bad, you thought something bad, you felt something bad, you want to hurt somebody, or you want to hurt yourself. That's not, you're not bad, okay? You're human. Giving things away. But the pastor talked for an hour. He talked for an hour in this counseling session when I was suicidal. And that's not what you do in a counseling session. Pastors usually don't know how to counsel people that have mental illness and depression, real depression, and clinical anxiety and stuff like that. They don't know. They're spiritual counselors. So anyways, this guy, he finally says, at the end of the session, he says, you're going through the valley of the shadow of death, like David was in the Psalms. Like, that one sentence was all he said that hour, that told me, I realized I'm in a valley of shrouded, clouded, deep, deep darkness with no way out, no light, no hope. And there was comfort in that. And also David, the king of Israel, the greatest king of Israel, the line of the Messiah, the man after God's own heart, felt suicidal a lot, and felt depressed, and felt sad and hopeless. I got to go. My mom's calling me. Hello, I'm back. This is another day, second day of recording. This is a long video, so obviously you can skip forward and go to segments and stuff, so that you don't have to sit through forever, and use what's useful and throw away what's not. Let me do some mindfulness breathing with you, because this is one of those ways to calm your body if you're frightened, and if you're hypervigilant, and if you have that trauma. It's proven to be physiologically effective to calm you down, and that way you feel like you're safer, and then you can use your logic center of the brain to think of ways to help yourself feel better, and what you can do proactively instead of killing yourself, that would make things more hopeful for you. So let's do that breathing. I do it all the time, and there's a certain way to do it. You have to do it this way, or similar to this way, as best you can. There's a couple ways to do it. You can breathe through your nose. Some say that's the best way. For me, I feel like I'm suffocating when I do that, because I have sinus problems. I'm always stuffed up, so I have to go through the nose and then out through the mouth slowly. Just watch how I do it. And then just join along. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. Relax your shoulders. Focus on any tension in your body, stomach, neck, head, face. Relax your face. Just let your face melt. Let your body just kind of melt into the chair or where you may be standing. I feel tension in my shoulder right now, so shoulders. So I'm just gonna let those droop. Neck's tensed up. I'm gonna let that relax. Starting to feel the calm go in my chest. Starting to feel really calm go through my body. Hearing a train roll along and sound off in the distance, that always makes me feel warm. Good childhood memory. And then just let your mind wander. You can focus on a beautiful image of the ocean in the summer on the beach, forest, cool forest, trees dancing in the breeze, warm breeze, sunshiny day, blue sky, white puffy clouds, a river gurgling and bubbling as it goes down. And then just get ready to come out when you're ready. Two more breaths. One more. Just allow that feeling to fill you up. I feel calm in my body. It's a physiological response to that deep breathing. It's not mystical. It's not magical. It's not bad mojo. It's research-based, evidence-based. And we all know if you deep breathe it, it makes you feel better. But the measured breathing is a technique that, if you just go like this, I mean, that's okay. I mean, you can feel relaxed. It's really the slow, measured, deliberate breath. Do this also. Here's another one that you can do. Now, I do that all day. I'm counseling with clients and I'm sitting in my chair, my hands on my thighs, feet on the floor, upright, and I'm breathing in and out very slowly, and they don't know that I'm doing it unless I tell them. And I'm listening. I can still listen, still focus. You can do this in a stressful meeting. You can do this when your boss is yelling at you. You could do this when your mom and dad are fighting. I don't expect that you're going to stay in the room and watch, but you maybe go in your room if you can and get away from it, and then you can do some deep breathing. That can help a little bit. If you're in danger, you're not going to be doing this. It's not going to help you much. You got to react to that danger if you're in real danger, not if you're just walking down the street, unless you live in the hood and you could get shot or killed. But you're walking down the street downtown, and you're going to go to Woolworths to get some candy. The 5-cent candy. Oh wait, that's 1960s. Walmart and get some $1.25 candy. But you know, I work in stressful jobs. I'm a teacher in the inner city. I work with at-risk kids. Sometimes they're violent. A lot of times they're just angry and out of control. Um, I'm not breathing when they're out of control. It's not the time, and you really can't because your body's reacting, your mind's putting you in focus. You got that adrenaline. You need that at the time. That's that autonomic nervous system protecting you. But I used to work at a detox center where it was stressful. I would walk down the hallway breathing and focusing. I would be telling myself, I'm alive, I'm here, I'm okay. And it did calm me down. It helped me. It doesn't take away the stress completely, but it does help me be a little calmer and a little more rational. And I can make a little better decisions in those tense moments when people are uptight and sick and coming to you with their problems and awful feelings in their body. So it helps. Um, so try it. Also, if you're in severe trauma, like let's say you're ready to kill yourself right now, and you can do some deep breathing, but it may not be the most helpful thing at the moment. Also, if you've experienced a lot of childhood trauma or some sort of trauma that's sticking with you in your body, when you slow your body down and slow your breath down, you could suddenly feel scared or feel panic or feel afraid. Feelings of rage can come up because suddenly your body's calm, and then you can feel all this stuff that you're pushing down. And it can be too painful to handle. I remember when I first started doing this, allowing myself to also feel my emotions instead of stuffing them. They came out like a tornado, like a tidal wave, like huge 6-foot waves, and it was really painful. I had to stop immediately. But that was while I was working in a horrible job at Amazon and being a robot person and under immense amount of physical, emotional, mental stress. All I was doing was feeling that rage and that anger. So there's times when you can, when you can't, and you'll learn. But it is a practice. It's just like when you first start working out, it's painful, and it gets better as you keep doing it. If you stop doing it, it won't get better. But as it is a practice, and you get in the habit, and you get into the sense of your body calming, and you start noticing that, you will feel better, guaranteed, or your money back. So, risk factors for suicide for those that want to help. And if you're in a suicidal mode, you'll know that if you have mental illness like me, bipolar, I'm subject to long periods of depression and anxiety. You're at risk. Depression and hopelessness, those two can kill you. I've tried to commit suicide a number of times, a bunch of times, and it's based on thinking nothing's going to get better. I've suffered for years since I was a kid, and it's never getting better. Guess what? I'm stopping the pain right now, and so God kept me alive for a reason, and hopefully this is one of them, that I could help other people with the comfort He gave me. Access to weapons. Obviously, some of these are obvious. Again, I have a gun in my house with bullets. It's not my gun; it's my grandpa's gun. I kept it around because it's kind of a keepsake, a sentimental kind of thing, connection to my grandpa. But not safe when I'm suicidal, which I was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I really wanted to grab that gun and just end it. And the only reason I did because I am able to notice my emotions, surf the urges of self harm and suicide, and it's that practice of breathing, of yoga, of knowing myself, and a lot of logic over the years. Realize it's not going to solve my life problems. It stops them, So in a sense, yeah, it's a effective measure if you're just in pain all the time. But I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to sleep on this because I know it's an impulse. And impulses, you don't have to act on them. You're in a panic because you're in so much pain and no one can help you and no one understands and no one's around. No one wants to help you. No one seems to care and no one understands what you're going through. So yeah, you're alone, you're isolated. Why wouldn't you want to kill yourself? But just sleep on it. And I felt better the next morning. I had all those thoughts and impressions and impulses of suicide were gone. And I have a better day. It's usually joy comes in the morning. An impulse, a strong impulse the night before of, say you want to yell at your boss or yell at your spouse, or your partner, your brother, sister, or the teacher at school, or the principal, or bullies, and you want to punch them in the face. Some things that are probably not effective and not helpful. Those kind of things. If you sleep on it, you're usually going to feel better in the morning. Emotions, those strong emotions, we know that they generally disperse, sort of dissolve in about 20 minutes. And the DBT therapy has a technique of surfing the urge, that wave that's pulling you and pushing you into shore or just keeping you underwater. If you sit with it and don't judge it, it's not a bad. It can cause you to do bad things, but if you can learn to sit with that urge and that strong impulse. Remember, you don't have to do anything you feel like doing. You're still in control of you. Your emotions are there to warn you and let you know if something's wrong, but then you get to act on it. You get to decide. But if you're in that passionate, overwhelming, boiling rage or suicidal urge, you can sit with it. And you don't have to sit around. You can go walk and you can listen to music. And there's a whole bunch of self-soothing techniques that you got to learn as well. You can draw, you can write in a journal, you can go talk to a friend, you can meditate, you can do yoga, do some sort of exercise, read a book if that helps, watch a TV show that's entertaining. Um, and so many things you can do. You can do the mindfulness techniques, you can do the hand thing, and you can do this thing, and this one, and the tapping. I feel it immediately. So these things you can learn. I need to put a self-soothing thing up here too. I can't put everything in on one video. Previous suicide attempts. If you've done it before, it's statistically proven you're probably going to try it again. I think the number is about 60% will try again, and I can attest to that anecdotally. In other words, subjectively, it happened for me, and it's much easier to try it again. Family history of suicide. No one killed themselves in my family, but I have a history of mental illness. My mom's a hoarder and she's depressed. I don't think she's bipolar. I think she might just have major depressive disorder. But again, mental illness, what we're finding is that a lot of it is just based on childhood trauma, and she had just a horrendous, abusive childhood. Personal failure, failing a class, not making a sports team, uh, you know, failure. You lost the game. You lost the championship. You got kicked out of school because you're out acting out. You lost somebody. You lost somebody. I lost my dad, and that took a while to grieve. You got to grieve it. You got to feel it. Let it go through you. Otherwise, remember, if you stuff, it's going to blow up. It's going to make your stomach sick, give you headaches, give you back tension, give you autoimmune diseases. It's a fact. It can give you cancer, give you heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure. Your body responds to that stress that's not noticed. It's telling you something. Listen to it. And get help. Therapist, help. Professional help. Yeah, divorce, You got a divorce, you lost a job. Look, I've lost so many jobs, and it's devastating. I'm getting used to it now. It's not as hard because I know I'm going to get another job. I have hope. That hope is really one of the strongest protective factors of not killing yourself. If you think that it's going to get better, when you've lost hope and you know for sure it's never going to get better, be based on your own personal experience, that's when you got to be careful. Get some help. Breakups are so hard. Breaking up is hard to do. The old 50s song. It is. It's just super hard. Everybody plays a fool sometime. There's no exception to the rule. I've been fooled by lovers so many times, and it so hurts. Nobody wants to feel stupid and used. You don't have friends. You're isolated from your family. You're bullied at school. That's a huge consideration. My daughter was bullied all her life. No exaggeration. Got ostracized from her family. No one liked her in the family. She was weird because she was trans, and she didn't know it. We didn't know it. Back in the 80s, we didn't know about that. But she was different, and so she got bullied. The social norm and kind of an innate societal structure is you attack the weak ones to get them out of the group for survival purposes. The weak puppy, the weak kitty usually dies, and that's natural selection, they say, um, and that keeps the group family strong. So we kind of pick on those that are weak. It's a bit of a natural tendency. Hey, it's not good. We don't have to go with it. You know, we learn compassion, and we're taught that. Use of drugs, substance abuse, using a lot of smoking a lot of weed, you're self-medicating. If you're in pain, you're going to self-medicate often. It's going to be a real quick fix. Of course, it's not effective. It's not conducive to healing that pain. It doesn't eliminate the pain. It just holds it down for a bit, and then it comes back, and then you got to do the weed or the coke or the meth or whatever it may be, the amphetamines or heroin, that kind of thing. Um, Booze. I never did weed, nor did I do illegal narcotics, but I did some booze, and it just never worked for me. I don't have that addictive personality. Made me feel worse. Booze is a depressant, so I'm already depressed. Why do I want to feel more depressed? I also didn't like feeling out of control in my body. I have that sense of I want to be in control. So those are the risk factors. If you got them, get some help immediately, and then if you're a friend, family member of someone that's going in these directions, then you got to reach out. You got to say something. Hey, how are you feeling? What's going on? I notice you're really depressed. You're sleeping all day, and you're giving away stuff. You've been talking about I love you, and if I don't see you again, um, you're crying a lot. You're isolating. You know, mom killed herself, so we got to watch this. So do those proactive things and talk about it. I recorded something really great. I don't know why this happens. I feel like God is against me when this happens, but he's not. So that's one of those things you can get a misperception of God and thinking he's against you during the times of failures and depressions and losses and people bullying you and sickness and loss of job and failing a class. It could be devastating, and you think God's not hearing you. And King David said, well, my God, why have you forsaken me? And Jesus said that on the cross. So even the greatest people in history have felt that way. So you're not alone there. And I've felt that way as a bipolar recovery person. So we talk about suicide. We barrel in there and say, hey, are you feeling like you see you've been isolating. You don't have to say isolating. I'm using these professional jargon, but you've been staying by yourself in your room. You don't come out. You don't eat. You're not hungry. You don't talk. You're giving stuff away. Um, you're sleeping all the time. Are you feeling like hurting yourself? And believe me, the light shines on that person. If someone had ever said that to me, in my moment, I'd be, I probably wouldn't have talked, wouldn't have spoken because I was afraid to talk about it. But when I was suicidal, I was always alone, and that's part of the temptation is when you're alone and isolating and depressed. That's when the negative thoughts and the impulses come in to stop that pain. And so, but when I've been in the therapist's office on my with my therapist getting counseling, they now ask you, are you feeling like hurting yourself, killing yourself in the last few days or last month, last since we have spoken last? I just I'm honest, and I might say, yeah, I did, had some thoughts and intentions, plans. So the next thing I'll say is, well, how are you going to do it? And then I'm saying I'm going to shoot myself, and then go, well, do you have access to guns now? Yeah, I got one in my closet. Well, do you have a plan to do it? Yeah, I'm gonna do it like later tonight when no one's around and no one can hear it. And so they're gonna go to their supervisor. They're gonna chat about it. They won't leave you alone. They're not supposed to. A counselor's not supposed to leave you alone at that point. But they'll get on the phone and talk to their super. What do we do? Talk to their supervisor. What do we do? And they'll probably call a crisis response team. You'll be taken to the ER, be assessed with that crisis response team. You'll probably spend hours and hours waiting for them because they don't come right away, but you'll be safe in the emergency room supposedly for the most part. And you get assessed. You'll either be admitted involuntarily or voluntarily, and you can get help. That's how that process works, in case you were wondering. And no one's going to judge you, no one's going to hate on you or shame you. But that's how it works. Now we ask the client, and I mentioned in the video that got deleted that I've had to do this a lot in my sessions with clients. I'm a substance abuse counselor, licensed and practiced and experienced some, and I'm good talking about suicide because I've attempted and I know exactly what they're going through. So I can address it. But I want you to know that it's scary to talk about it, even for someone who's been there and for someone who's trained to do it and someone who knows how to do it and someone who's talked with clients about it and talked them down. My daughter's suicidal just about every day. I have to talk her off that ledge, and I said that before. But I think it's worth noting again that I have to deal with this every day. And you think it's comfortable? It's not. It's never comfortable. And if you're not a professional and your friend, family, um, coworker, schoolmate, you know, peer is talking about it, then it's scary. But you have to do it. You got to talk about it. We know it's researched and science based that we got to talk about it. You got to bring it up because if it's kept in the dark, kept in the basement, or if you live in LA, kept in the closet, they don't have basements out there. Not really sure why, because it'd be nice to have a basement. You can go down there, have a pool table, and man cave. Have a big screen TV and a big black leather couch. Have a mini fridge full of beer. I don't suggest that for you kids. Um, so even professionals, it's difficult. I lost my train of thought there. The train went off the with my brain. Keep in mind, I'm bipolar. Mental health is not taboo. It's not shameful. You're not. There's nothing wrong with you in that you're not defective. You're not less of a person because you're having suicidal thoughts. It's just natural reaction to pain. And so you just talk about it and you get it out of the dark. The light shines on that gross, dark, evil depressing thought and the pain. And then when the light comes on it, then you can kind of deal with it. And it's not as scary, and it doesn't get to hold you in its prison, a dark prison. So we talk about it. It's not shameful. It's a function of your body to protect you from pain. So you gotta get back into the rational, sensible mode of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, instead of that amygdala, fear center, emotional center, and fight, flight, or freeze, autonomic nervous system, and start thinking rationally, start processing. Hey, do I really want to do this? Is this the best solution for me? And if we talk about it, then we can deal with it. If not, it's the monster in the closet. So about 20% of people have a mental disorder or have suffered a mental disorder. So it's prevalent. Suicide rate, as we mentioned before, is astounding. There's 500,000 people do it every day. The numbers are going up for older folks. That's the second leading cause of death in the United States for ages 10 through 44. It's most prevalent among white people, probably because there's more white people. I think that's a statistical anomaly because it's not really fair to judge it like that. Um, However, it's a fact. More white people kill themselves. I think the next is Latinos, and then blacks will kill themselves, and finally Native Americans. And so, talk about it. Talk about mental illness. It is scary, but it's not scary. It doesn't have to be scary. Think of it like diabetes. Do we go, oh, you're a shameful person because you have diabetes and you take insulin and you're weak? You have cancer, so there's something wrong with you essentially as a person. You caused it and you can get out of it. That's a drastic analogy. Let's say you have a cold. Let's say you have a infection in your tooth. That's a bad one too, because maybe you had too much sugar over your lifetime. Let's say you've got a cold, and it's a bacterial infection. They need to give you penicillin and antibiotics. Are you weak? Are you defective in your essential being? Are we afraid to talk about having a cold? We call off work and say, I got a cold. Well, you don't call off work and say, you're afraid to call off work and say, I'm depressed, I'm staying in bed today, because then you're weird. We got to stop thinking about mental illness as weird. Otherwise, it wins. So we're surrounded by the deaths of really important people and talented people, rich and famous people. All of these people are rich and famous, and they're smiling and they're doing the stuff they love and what would fulfill them and create joy in them and pleasure, and they know they're making other people feel good. So why wouldn't they feel good? And it's a mystery. Why do these great people kill themselves? That is the mystery. And look at the smiles. Sometimes they're happy, but maybe behind the closed door of their bedroom or their house, they're really sad. I wonder what that's about. And should we just ignore it? Let's just ignore it. And hey, Marilyn Monroe's dead a long time ago. There's no reason in thinking about it. It doesn't help us to wonder and stress about it. Um, Ernest Hemingway wrote a lot of famous books, and we don't know why he did. No one knows. Robin Williams was so cool, made me laugh. He's just one of my favorite comedians, and yet, God, I guess he strangled himself. What an awful way to go. But let's just forget about it because, hey, that's just ugly thoughts. I don't need to think about it. So look at Naomi Judd. What a powerful singer. I don't know if you've ever heard her sing, but it's just this powerful presence. It's almost magical. I think of Stevie Wonder. I saw him in concert once, real close up. The guy is mystical. He's magical. I thought to myself, this guy's an angel. I'm seeing somebody from heaven. And I remember Sting had him on stage one time, and Sting said, he's a being of a higher plane. And it's exactly how he thinks. He makes us feel beyond ourselves and almost heavenly. Musicians and actors and writers and powerful speakers like Obama and people that have changed our lives, changed the world. Nelson Mandela, um, Toni Morrison, Oprah. These people just change our lives with their words and their presence. But again, behind her shut door and in the quiet of her house, wherever she lived, she didn't get off her couch for 2 years. She was so depressed I couldn't move. Can you imagine? My husband and my girlfriends and Ashley would come over and she would just go upstairs and lock the door to her bedroom. You become immobilized. So fight, flight, or freeze is what I talked about. These are autonomic responses in our our body. We can't control them. So she was in fear. She was in danger in some way in her mind and her body. It's not something she could control necessarily. And she couldn't at the time. She didn't even understand what was going on. And so her body reacted and kept her safe in her locked room. Um, and nobody knew what was going on, according to the daughters. One being Ashley Judd, a famous actress. Today, we sisters experienced a tragedy. We lost our beautiful mother to the disease of mental illness. We are in unknown territory. Michael Phelps won, I think it was 10 gold medals in the Olympics. He came out and said, I'm bipolar. There's other actors and actresses and famous people. Abe Lincoln apparently had mental illness. His wife absolutely had mental illness. Um, a lot of famous people, Van Gogh, cut off his ear. What the hell is that about? What the fuck? So it's hard to understand, but she had pain, and I've had that pain. I have that pain. I still struggle with that inner pain of fear, and maybe it's never going to stop. And for me, it never has stopped. It's just gotten better with my own therapy and taking medications and doing yoga and mindfulness and doing things that I enjoy, doing a meaningful job like counseling and teaching, just helping others, helping my family with their troubles. My mom's has dementia. My daughter's has borderline personality disorder, which is really a tough disorder. Um, and she's transgender, so she's going through hell. Her transition has just not been fun. It's just really awful, and I have to help her through that. I have to feel that pain. Have to wish I could take it away. But you can't take away Naomi's pain. You can't take away. I can't take away my daughter's pain. I can't take away my mom's dementia. But you feel that you want to, and the daughters of Naomi Judd, they don't understand it. Nobody really understands it until till you go through it. Depression can be really foreign to people that don't experience it, but I know it. It's real. I for a long time, especially in my teenage years, death was my closest friend, and there was I don't know if it was Robert Frost. Don't go quiet into that dark night or that good night. Fight it. Fight that suicide. Fight that dark thought of killing yourself. Don't go without a fight. And so fight that suicidal thought. Fight that thought of hurting yourself. Fight that thought of hating yourself and punishing yourself with cutting and other self harms. Um, because you're worth it. You have extreme value. You have talents, you have abilities, even if you don't think so, even if everybody tells you you don't, even if everybody tells you you're lousy and stupid and you're a waste of time and you're not doing anything with your life, sitting on the couch and in the bedroom, closing your door. They tell you to get out of your bed and do something. Get out and enjoy the day. Go skiing if it's cold, or go to the beach if it's hot, or go get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Mm. Just had a sip of my coffee in my Snoopy mug, which makes me happy. Something as simple as that can lift your spirits a little bit. There's a technique. It's called the half smile. Marsha Linehan, I don't know if she made it, but she brought it to light in her DBT, dialectical behavior therapy tools for self-soothing. Do a half smile. Do it with me. What do you feel? You feel a little warmth. You feel a little uplift there. That's your body. That's an autonomic nervous system response. Our bodies sense and tell our mind what to feel, and it's natural. Frown with me. What do you feel? Did you think about feeling angry or sad or depressed? And I'm not putting words in your mouth, but what did you feel? You didn't feel happy. You didn't feel joy. That's your body responding to what your body did. You didn't think about it, did you? It just happens. There's the vagus nerve. Runs all through our body, and it senses what's going on in our body, and it sends neurochemicals to our brain from our stomach, and which is where most of our neurochemicals run around and react. Starts in your gut. Where do you feel pain? Where do you feel stress? I feel it in my gut. I have IBS. It is a disorder of stress. We're finding this out. Autonomic nervous system affects our body and tells us when we're scared, when we should be fighting, and when we should be flighting, and when we should be freezing. Peter Levine, a doctor who started somatic experiencing, tells this story about seeing a lion on, I don't know if this is Nature Channel or something like that. This lion, this tiger, was chasing a not a deer, but I guess it would be in the jungle, in that climate, whatever, a deer, a elk, or whatever, chasing this animal who's defenseless. Now did the animal think about running? Did the animal sit down and go, so I'm gonna die if I don't do something. So what should I do? Fight, flight, or freeze? No. Boom. Saw that lion. Boom. Body takes off. Same thing we do. If you see a lion in your backyard while you're mowing the lawn or reading the garden or sitting on your porch drinking a Bud Light or an iced tea, a Nestea, a Lipton, whatever you prefer. How about that Arizona green tea? I like that. Or Arnold Palmer green tea, iced tea. A blend. Half and half. Wow. Do it. I'm not getting paid for that. I'm just being silly. But this is what we do. So we're in the backyard and the lion comes along. And what are you gonna sit there and let me take a drink of my coffee? Wow, that's a lion. What should I do? Let me pause and think about it. So, no, boom, you're going to react. Your body takes over and tells you what to do. Here's the interesting thing. And they talk about, so this deer, they talk about the reptilian brain. I don't know about that. They talk about in evolution. I don't know about that. I'm more of a spiritual-based, creation-based deal. I don't think we evolved. I think boom, God made it. It all works perfectly. It's designed, and He made it. You don't have to believe that. That's just what I believe. Anyway, so the reptilian brain is from, when we were cavemen, cave women, maybe gay or lesbians or transgender cave people, and just being silly. But hey, what do you know? You don't know. So it could have been. So, anyways, in a reptilian brain, you saw the mastodon, you saw the T-Rex. What are you going to do? They're not, right. So, boom, we do it. So they're saying we still have that reaction, and it disconnects the prefrontal cortex up here, which is our logic, the seat of logic and reason and calculation and sensibilities, and you calculate decisions. Well, that goes offline, my friend, and you are in that reptilian brain, the amygdala, the seat of emotion. Boom! You're gonna run, you're gonna freeze, or you're gonna grab your shotgun, your double-barreled shotgun, and load it. Or nowadays, your AK-47. I don't know what it is, and you're gonna shoot. I'd like to have that in my backyard, just sitting back there in the just post it up against the wall and grab it in case there's a lion. But I live in Ohio, so let's see what would be. There could be a bear. Could be a bear. Don't know. Don't know. Could be. Donald Trump. So you're gonna just do it. You're not gonna wonder about it. And when we have that trauma, it can live on in our bodies. We can stay scared. Like the guys with PTSD, our beloved veterans that come home from war, that saw bloody scenes of explosions and arms being blown off and heads being destroyed and taken off and uh, uh, shot, bloody, and being in danger constantly. Your body can stay in that. We know that now, that your body, if you've had real trauma, that doesn't always go away. And if you have a mental disorder, that can be related to trauma, especially if we're dealing with substance abuse and addiction. You're medicate. You could be one. It could be medicating that pain and that fear and guilt and shame. You're medicating. Your body's telling you something's wrong. You're in danger, but you're not. But that doesn't mean you don't feel it anymore. And look at the slide. We got to talk about this. Stop. We got to talk about it. Ask about it. Are you thinking about suicide? Thinking about killing yourself? We're supposed to, the experts tell us to talk about it. And you know something? We got to. It gets to win. So take a look at these statistics and decide if we should talk about it or not, or try to do something about it, or just keep it in the dark, bury it in the backyard with the goldfish. So 2021, almost 50,000 people died by suicide in the US. That's where I live. I feel concerned about that. Here's another thing. More than 12 million adults really thought about suicide. Another 3.5 million made a plan, and 1.7 million adults attempted a suicide. So so almost 50,000 did it, and almost 2 million people tried it. So, and I think there's like about 8 deaths from overdose every minute in the United States. Some and myself think that's suicide. You're trying to kill yourself, kill the pain so much that you kill yourself, but subconsciously, and maybe not, really, uh, consciously doing it, but in a way, you're trying to kill the pain, and suicide is the end of pain. It is a quick solution to pain. It's not the best solution, but because pain can go away. And I know this because if you don't have hope in your life, if you don't think it's ever going to get better, yeah, you're going to want to kill yourself. Because why would you want to live the rest of your life in severe, deathly pain that you can't escape from? There is the little magical part that can get you out of suicide and get us out of suicide, is that hope. Morgan Freeman said, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things. He didn't really say that. He was an actor in Shawshank Redemption in a prison, and he wasn't going to get out. He had a life sentence, his character. And Tim, I forget what his name is, Timothy, the character who was also in jail with him, who also wasn't going to get out because he supposedly murdered innocently He didn't murder his wife and her lover. He was framed for it, mistakenly convicted, and he knew he was innocent. He's like, I don't deserve this. I should not be here. I didn't do this, but I'm never going to get out. But he hoped that someday he would, and that kept him alive. And that gave him something to look forward to. But he also did something about it. So if you are suicidal and you have depression or you have a mental disorder or you're being beat up by your husband or partner and you're poor and you can't seem to get a job and you're a single parent like I was and there's nobody around to help you and nobody understands and you're a kid and you're getting abused, sexually abused, you're getting beat up, you're getting neglected. They're not around. Your parents are gone. They're drug addicts. Dad's in jail. Um, Dad's beating mom. You get to see that every day, and you can't stop that. You're a kid. What are you going to do? You can't stop the pain in your life as a kid, and this is real. This is where the trauma comes from many of us adults, and 1 in 6 adults have one of the 10 adverse childhood experiences. Um, Around 60 or no, it's around 30 some percent have 4 or more ACEs trauma. You can look this up under a Google ACEs trauma as ACEs and as in the card ACE plural. So look that up. Really, really groundbreaking survey. 17,000 people that Kaiser Permanente did. It shows us that we are suffering from traumatic past, and it sticks with you. It can really, really fuck up your life like it did me. And I have that trauma, and I didn't know I had it. Your brain blocks it out, and it saves you. The dissociation, you dissociate from your body to your brain does that automatically. That's that fight, flight, or freeze. That dissociation is the freeze. And if you're a kid and you can't get out of it and it's chronic and it doesn't stop, your body will do something to save you. And then when you get to be an adult, you bury that stuff because you don't want to think about it. It's painful, but your body is telling you, look, something is seriously wrong inside you. You got to attend to it. And that's where therapy comes in. That's where reaching out to your friend or your spouse or your partner or your pastor or a counselor, especially a professional, preferably. Look, pastors don't always know. They're not professional counselors. They might, give you some comfort and say God's with you and all that, which is true. That's a protective factor, spirituality. But you really need a professional if you're thinking about suicide. That's not something to play with. It's kind of like having cancer. You're not going to fix it yourself by praying and fasting and reading the Word of God. I mean, yeah, God could heal you, but Jesus isn't around right now to lay hands on you. And yeah, we can pray for you and lay hands on you and miracles happen and all that. But get some help because I prayed it, read the Bible, feverishly daily and prayed daily and fasted for days a week. Used to fast for 3 days a week at a time. None of that went away. Took medication, wasn't working that good. Saw my therapist, didn't help that much. Keep in mind, you can't talk away trauma. Just because you talk about it and you feel it again, that's not dealing with the body's response of fear and telling you that something's wrong. You got to learn to calm your body with mindfulness, with yoga, with other therapies and techniques. You might need drama therapy. You might need animal therapy. Go play with a horse, ride a horse, or take care of a dog, or have a dog, a comfort animal or cat or a goldfish. Or I used to have a lizard, a bearded dragon, and he fascinated me so much. And I put him on my shoulder, and it was nice. It was a good feeling having that little guy on your shoulder. And sometimes he would take his nose and put it on my neck. I don't know what that was about, but it felt kind of fun. It was nice. Touch is healing. Go like this. This is a technique to calm yourself. Do it. Do it with me. Try the calming technique. It's not magical. It's not mystical. It's physiological. Feel it. You feel that? Go like this. Go like this. This is a proven technique. Feel this. Try it. 2 fingers. Go like this. tapping. I think it's like this. Lightly tap 7 times. No, maybe it's like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Feel that? I feel it. It's a physiological response to touch, and supposedly there's these vagus nerve endings in certain parts of your body that are ultimately ultra sensitive. That's why touch is so important. If you could touch somebody, they hug you, they touch your hand, they touch your shoulder when you're sad. It brings you some comfort. It's a physiological response. Lots of techniques to do self-calming and calm your body. I think I'll do one in a bit, another one. So I'm really just showing some statistics so you know I'm not just this crazy bipolar guy that just wants to spout his philosophies and personal experience. There's a preacher once someone told me, he said, or no, yeah, preacher said, "I'm sorry about sharing my personal experience, but it's the only kind I have." So your personal experience is valid, it's valuable. You learn things from experience. We learn things from mistakes. Michael Jordan missed 9,000 baskets in his career, and he won 6 NBA championships. Missed a basket. Did that devastate him? Did that stop him? No, he kept going, and he learned. He got better, and he kept making more baskets and more baskets. So you fall down, you get back up. It's true, you have to. But sometimes when you're depressed, and I know this, sometimes I've been so depressed I can't get out of bed. You're frozen. That's my body freezing to keep me from going out into the scary world and getting hurt by other people. And just it's a scary place. You know what people are gonna do. The proverbial cut you off from the freeway if you're living in LA like I did, and the drivers are insane. I mean, it is all for one, no one for one except for one, and that's you. It's really a survival on those highways out there, and that's scary. That's stressful. Don't you know? Yeah, road rage. Yeah, it builds up after a while, and you want to shoot somebody. And believe me, I did. Jack Nicholson stopped his car, took out his golf club out of his back trunk, and started hitting this guy's car who did something to him on the road. That's Jack Nicholson. He's a crazy guy. He's wild. I don't know him, but we all know he is. Anyways, youth suicide rates increasing. In 2017, pediatric academic societies showed that youth admitted to children's hospitals for thoughts of suicide or self-harm have more than doubled during the last decade. So that would be in the 2010s. Now, suicide is decreasing a little bit in youth, but it's increasing in older adults. That's I guess where the highest rate is. Let's look at that. So, urge surfing, it's no joke. It has easily been one of the main therapeutic interventions that have improved the survival quality of my life. It's rescued me from my emotions, from my emotional dysregulation based on trauma. As I rehash, trauma puts us in a fight, flight, or freeze, our autonomic nervous system. I hope I can stop bringing that up, but it's what I know, it's what I've studied, and it works. It's research based. The best minds in counseling and psychiatry and therapy, psychotherapy, are adhering and, um, advocating for this trauma type of rescue. I call it rescue, but urge surfing. So when you're suicidal, there's an urge. in your body, and I'm gonna keep saying that, and it is normal. Now be careful how you interpret this. I'm gonna explain. Normal that your body would respond in a self-defense autonomic nervous system response to pain. Your body gives the emotional pain that you feel that is so difficult and so distressing and so overwhelming that you want to do something drastic to stop it. It's kind of like you're on fire and you got to put out the fire, and the quickest way you can. And suicide is in your head the quickest way to put out any fire or any emotional pain or physical pain. You could be a cancer patient. You could be a heart patient. You could be in stroke. You could have dementia. You could have Alzheimer's. You could have any kind of number of autoimmune diseases that are debilitating, MS and the other ones. My sister has one. Um, Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. We think uh, scientists think is based on stress. Some of the newer new scientific evidence. So I'm out here in the outside, real nice day, calm, and I'm going to show you. First, I'll explain urge surfing. Urge surfing. The premise here is that you do not stuff that emotion, that extreme, panicky, fight, flight, or freeze emotion. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to stuff it down. Don't try to stop it. Stopping a strong emotion, or really almost any emotion, but an intense emotion, it would be like putting a pot on boiling water and keeping it boiling, and that lid is going to blow off. I don't know if there might be a better analogy or a different analogy, but I often use that one. Um, Really, it's like ignoring pain. It'd be like ignoring physical pain. You have a migraine headache. You have a headache. You have a sinus headache. You have a cold. If you want to ignore that, you could, but your body is going to keep bringing it up until you do something about it. It's just natural. It's a natural response to pain. And emotional pain, as many say, it could be more painful, more difficult than physical pain. Now I'm a little anxious right now, so you don't, and I'm going to show you how I calm myself down. And you can do this all day long. I guarantee it works or your money back, but it is a practice. So urging the surfing the urge is basically noticing what's going on in your body with your emotions. Whatever that urge is, whether it's suicide, you want to kill yourself to stop the pain. Okay. What is that emotion? Okay. So what we do, and I do this, I do it with every emotion that causes me to pause, that causes me to distress, that's worth listening to, that's stronger than something I can just ignore. Um, an intrusive thought, an intrusive emotion that's really simple and can be explained away and whiffed away like smoke or like steam from your coffee. It shows you, yeah, you got a little steam there, and it's just going to dissipate. Um, there's a difference. There's a super difference. You'll know if you have an emotion that you can't handle, but you must not ignore it. So you think about it and you get in your body. And then what this practice here, this step by step, is from WebMD, which is a resource, a reliable, valid resource that I use a lot in my research, in my grad program counseling, and if you want to know something that's valid and get a good scientific and research-based answer for a medical problem, mental health included, go on here. WebMD. I think I had the link right there, or the link is in the resources at the end of this video. Anyway, so notice your emotion. First of all, sit if you can. You could be driving. I do this when I'm driving. If something comes up, I'm angry, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I do it while I'm driving. So what you do is what I do. Sit in your chair and close your eyes if you can, and allow yourself to feel whatever emotion it may be, whatever's going on in your body. So what I'll do is just going to notice how I'm feeling. I actually am anxious right now. I'm afraid, and I'm wondering. Let's just notice that in my body. But I'm going to recognize what I'm anxious about. So if you're angry, you're anxious, you're stressed, you're nervous, you're depressed, hopeless, you're ready to kill yourself, you got this urge. So feel it. Do not fight it. Don't judge it. It's not good or bad. It's an urge. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. It's in your body. Your body's trying to tell you something. So big thing is don't judge it as good or bad. Feel it. Now, keep in mind that this could be really scary, and if you're not used to a mindfulness practice, it can be painful. When I first started doing this, it was scary and so painful. In the first 30 seconds, I had to stop because I wasn't used to noticing my emotions, and I had a lot of rage. And I stuffed that down just to survive every day, to get up and go to work and not kill somebody. So I had to stuff it. But when I first started noticing in my body, it was so scary and painful, I had to stop. So I had to come back to it slowly and gradually. So this for you, if you're in crisis right now, this may not work for you at this moment. You may not be able to handle it. But since I've been practicing it for a couple years, I can handle any kind of emotion because I know how to keep it to a simmer and notice it right away. But if you're in crisis, you may need to just call the crisis line, which is you've seen already in this video. But let's suppose you're not in crisis. So let's notice what's going on in my body. So I'm closing my eyes, and some people can't close their eyes. It's scary, or they a lot of times we don't even feel safe in our bodies, especially if we've had trauma and we've disassociated from our emotions in our body to survive, and that's a normal thing to do if you're in a lot of pain. But it could be scary. So let's say you can't close your eyes. That's okay. I can. That helps me. So I'm just sitting on my butt. I feel my butt I'm actually on the cement right now, the sidewalk, and I'm noticing my butt on the sidewalk. Just feeling that. What's it feel like? I am anxious, feeling stressed about doing this video. I'm afraid I'm not going to do it right, or I'm not going to say the right things to help you. So I'm just going to feel that real momentarily. I feel that in my chest. I feel it in my arms. My arms are actually shaking a little bit. Just going to feel it. Don't judge it. Just let it be. Where do you feel it in your body? It will not overwhelm you. It will not kill you. Emotions, it can't kill you. If you're having a panic attack, actually, the worst that's going to happen is you pass out. It's the worst that could happen. Well, I guess you could have a heart attack technically, but most panic attacks don't result in that. At any rate, let's notice what's going on in your body. Relax your arms. Relax your shoulders. Let them droop. Relax your eyes. If your eyes are open, just go into a soft focus. Breathe. The biggest part of this is breathing. Now, I'm not doing a deep breath right now because I'm just noticing my body, and that's how I like to do it. But technically, breath is the biggest thing. So we're going to start breathing and focus on your breath. So let's breathe in through the nose, deep through the nose, slowly, and then slowly out through your mouth. Keep breathing. Just notice what's going on in your body when you breathe. I'm starting to feel a calm. But I'm going to let myself shake it out. Let your shoulders droop. Let your neck feel relaxed. Breathe into wherever that tension is. Maybe it's in your neck. It is in my neck right now. I left my shoulders and kind of left my arms too. I'm kind of leaving them limp. Now let's get putting my hands on the ground. It kind of gives you that grounding. Notice you're safe in your chair. Maybe you're driving. No, you can't drive and do this. I mean, you can't watch this video and drive. But let's say you're standing, sitting, whatever it is. Just notice your feet on the ground. You're safe on the ground. You're not going to collapse. Relax your eyelids. I'm feeling the sun on my face. It's really nice and warm. Now, as you're ready, you can come back, open your eyes. I'm just starting to notice the breeze, really nice breeze coming around me. I can feel it on my arms. Sitting up straight. Okay, for sake of time, I'm going to come out of that meditation. Really is what it is. I don't like to call it meditation. I just like to call it mindfulness, because a lot of people are scared by the word meditation. All right, I'm also going to do this with my hands, but because I've been going like this with my hands, like I'm really anxious. So I'm going to do this with my hands. Slow it down. Just notice the feeling of my hands. It's calming me immediately. All right, so that's your mindfulness breathing. That's surfing the urge. That's your technique. You can do it. As I mentioned, I do it while I'm driving to work. I have a commute, half-hour commute. Sometimes I have longer than that. I put one hand on my thigh, and I drive with the other hand, and I deep breathe. If I'm anxious about going to work, which is often, I notice that feeling. I let it be. I don't judge it, but then I process. When your body is calm, you can then use that prefrontal cortex to process. Why am I angry? Be curious about it. Why am I angry? Sometimes you don't even know. Sometimes I don't even know. What the hell am I angry about? What am I nervous? What am I afraid of? Well, let's see. I'm afraid when I go to work, I'll fall apart. I won't be able to perform my job because it's stressful. And I'm surrounded by people that I don't know that well. They're just my coworkers. They're not necessarily my friends. They don't know me. Do they accept me? Do they think I'm weird? Most likely. Because I acknowledge I am weird, but I'm okay with that, because I can't be like everybody else, and you can't be like everybody else, and you don't want to be like everybody else. Be you, and start accepting that as okay, no matter how weird you may be or how flawed you may feel. You're okay, just as you are, flaws and all. Accept those flaws and those bumps. I actually call them defects. I don't know. I have bipolar, so that's a defect, a disorder, so something I have to deal with. All right, so let's go into the next slide and see. So, as you'll notice, the background has a calm sea. So I'm feeling calmer. Still a little revved up because adrenaline naturally comes in when you're doing something stressful. So it's pretty stressful. So how you feeling? You feel calmer? Good. Three little things going on here. Notice your urges. They're not going to kill you. What else did it say? Oh, like waves in the ocean. So important thing, what I've learned in the counseling program is that supposedly emotions strong emotions will crest like a huge wave. Let's call it a tidal wave because that's what it feels like sometimes. Especially if you might be suicidal, that's a tidal wave that's going to knock you right over. So those strong emotions will crest, and then technically, theoretically, they will dissipate after about, quote, 30 minutes. Now, that's if you don't have a disorder of uh, either bipolar or borderline personality disorder, or you're battling suicide or some other serious mental disorder. For me, I couldn't get a hold of my emotions and they didn't dissipate, partially because I didn't know how to handle them. But they would overwhelm me for days. I could be angry about one thing somebody said to me for weeks. I couldn't shake it. Now I can. Because of mindfulness, because of the grounding, because of yoga. Yoga helps a bunch. It really does. It calms your body down. So if you've had trauma, your body's all revved up and hypervigilant. You're ready to be hurt again, and it's self-protective, so that's normal. But yoga helps calm my trauma response, my hypervigilance, looking around, what's going to happen next, who's going to hurt me next, um, who's going to reject me next, who's going to look at me mean. Little things for those of us that had that trauma can put you in that fight or flight or freeze state all day long. So yoga, mindfulness, there's tons of stuff to do. There's theater, you can sing, you can write music, you can journal your thoughts, you can talk to a friend, you can pray, you could read the Bible, you could read a book you love, you could read philosophy, you could do meditation, learn how to do that. You can watch a movie, watch a TV show, go for a bike ride, go outside, smell fresh air. Unless you're in New York or LA, and there is none. But get out there in nature. It's a real calming for me. And go online. And I also put a link to 99 coping skills. I think it's by listentoyourvoice.org, but it's in the resources at the end of the video, as well as hopefully I put it in the. I actually have a couple slides that list those coping skills, and it's 99. You could probably think of more. Whatever makes you feel calmer and feel good, and distract you a little bit from your rage or fear or sadness, depression, um, so that you can let that emotion come down a little bit. They're useful. Um, Wellness techniques. Eating right, sleeping right, being in a safe environment as much as you can, eliminating people from your life that are not healthy, cause you too much stress, things like that. Seeing a therapist, taking meds like I do, that helps. It doesn't cure it. Anyways, I hope this helped, and let's go on to the next slide. I have a cup of Snoopy coffee. So more statistics. I can't hardly read them. By age group, let's see. 75 is 40.5% of those 75 plus are killing themselves. Wonder why. Think about it. They're nearing death anyway, so why not give it up? Maybe there's this generational thing. I forget who's. It's a developmental psychology that gives us developmental stages of development in life, and there's it's stagnation versus um, importance, value, something like that. Like versus integrity. What did you do with your life? So many of us, I'm 62, I reflect back on my life. What the hell did I do with my life? Did it matter? Did I waste it? Did anybody care? And you're 75 and up, yeah, you might die tomorrow. You got a closer chance of dying than anybody. So where's your hope? Did you have a meaningful life and then kill yourself? I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel that shit no more. Let's see. You read them because I can't. But it's going up. Let's just put it that way. In 21, they said it's going up. CDC. So statistics, suicide rate by race, ethnicity. This is significant. So we have I'm trying to read this. Hispanics. I like to call them Latino. Hispanics sound like a virus. I love my Latinos. That wasn't a racist comment. Hispanic is a government term for Latinos. I don't like it. No good. No good. Can't have it. 12%. 27% white people. I'm white. Black people, 12, almost 13% are killing themselves. Less than whites, a little more than Latinos. Asians, 10%. American Indians. Now that's a bad term. We all know it's Native Americans now. That's the proficient, protocolish term, appropriate term, professional term. Native Americans, indigenous people. They were here before the white people, and we killed them and put them on reservations where they're killing themselves and drinking themselves to death. It's fact. Those are statistical facts. This is CDC. Females are killing themselves less than males, and males are using guns, and we're using more lethal methods now, guns and strangulations. What I read on another site, which is listed in my references, professional references. These are all important people, important statistics. CDC. Come on, this is the highest knowledge in the country about health. So women are doing it less, and when they do it by pills because they don't want to destroy their looks. Women are more interested in how they look, and they don't want somebody seeing their face blown off. Look, I'm being graphic for a reason. Talk about it. It's a reality, and if we talk about it, it doesn't have the power. It takes the power away from it, and it's going to be uncomfortable to talk about it first. I feel kind of gross. I feel kind of this pit of kind of awfulness when I say that stuff, that graphic stuff. And maybe it'll scare somebody out of doing it. Like I've thought about shooting myself many times. I have a gun, and my dad's gun, my grandpa's gun. That's still after my dad died. I inherited it in a sense. But it's just in the house. I've never shot it. It's got bullets, but I hid it. I hid it for myself, and my memory's so bad that I didn't know where I hid it. I separated the bullets from it in another place. I can never remember where I put them. I know now. Guess what? I know where the bullets are. I know where the gun is. And not more than 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I had this serious craving, an impulse to take that gun and shoot myself right in the old head, right in the noggin, and blow that thing away. Why? Because my life sucks. I live with my mom who has dementia. I live with my daughter who's transgender and has its suicidal thoughts every day, and I have to talk her off that ledge. And because I've studied to be a counselor, and I am a counselor, I'm a substance abuse counselor, licensed and trained and experienced. I had a lot of success with it in the minimal short time I've done it. I have to talk her off a ledge. You think that doesn't hurt? And I have a shitty job. I've been fired so many times. It's devastating, and I feel ugly about myself. I feel like a failure. And I have bipolar, so I'm depressed a lot. And bipolar is a physiological, neurological symptom and disorder that can't just be wanded away by a couple pills. and buy some therapy. It doesn't go away like that. And I believe I'm in recovery for the rest of my life. Just like addicts, we often think that they're in recovery the rest of their life. It's genetic and environmental. Most of the experts think. Not only is it environmentally caused, if you have a shitty life, you're going to drink. If it's also genetic predisposition to addiction. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's part of your body and part of your environment, which you didn't cause and you didn't ask for. Crappy parents and poor inner city life in the ghetto where you don't know if you're gonna make it home that night from school or from going to the grocery store and going to the 7-Eleven and getting some smokes and stuff. So this is my summary conclusion. Probably be pretty long. You could probably use this as a single video on its own. Just trying to summarize and encourage you to stay alive for another day and really stick it out for another week, a month, a year. I got to be honest with you. My life has been a depressing daily misery. Probably since I was about 10 when I lost my super close best friend Martin Ranta. Wherever you are, Martin, I don't know, I haven't seen him since that time. We were like brothers and sisters. And that was devastating to me at 10 years old. After that, I didn't have any friends, and I moved to a rich white neighborhood, and I didn't fit in. I was kind of poor white trash, and I still am, and I kind of still fit in with the streets for whatever reason. I'm comfortable with people that are troubled because I'm troubled, so you feel comfortable with who you match with, and that's natural. But from that time on, I felt lost and depressed. I didn't know why. I was a kid. It's 10 years old. So, and I'm still depressed. I'm depressed now. I just have my baseline is depression. Baseline is where I'm at most of the time. Now, I've learned to manage it with meds, which with therapy, with yoga, with mindfulness, with breathing, and so I mitigate that so it's not death depression. But for years, my life didn't get better and never got better. And no one could help me. I couldn't help me. I didn't know what to do. I most of the time I just thought there was something wrong with me. I was weak. I was too emotional, too sensitive. And and that's what we have to kind of it's kind of almost natural to attack yourself when you're feeling all these vulnerability and fear and rage, which is what I had daily. Wake up pissed off, really pissed off, ready to kill somebody. Got into a lot of fights. Got a scar up here from a bar fight. We got kicked in the head with a big old work boot. It's an ugly feeling, but it was just me. These are the past things I had to go through. I mentioned the suicide attempt at 12. I should have died. I recall my no, I wasn't conscious at this time, but I was on the ground in the snow in the front yard of one of my friend's house, and his dad, this huge 6 foot, 200-pound guy, was pounding. I was told he was pounding on my chest. This is a huge gorilla fist, and to keep me alive, to start my heart, because they said my heart stopped 3 times. I don't remember that. Hell, since I don't remember it, I don't really care. I don't connect with it. But I was in the hospital for 5 days in a coma. And when I woke up, I just felt shame. I didn't know I tried to kill myself, but I knew I did something really bad by getting drunk and taking pills. He's 12 years old. Now, a lot of you, some of you kids, 6 years old, I've known and worked with, encountered kids in my professional counseling life as a substance abuse counselor and as a residential technician in psych units and, and other places, children and family services counselor and as an intern, kids that are using alcohol um, at 6 years old. Um, um, so you could be using substances to calm to soothe your pain. Because as a kid, I'm talking to the kids now, you can't get out of it. You're too young to leave home to get out of that abusive situation and the terror that you feel. And maybe you can go in your room and hide, or maybe you go to school and feel safe. Maybe you don't feel safe anywhere. So So I don't know what that's like to be abused physically or sexually by family or family friends or pastor or a teacher or coach. I don't know what that's like. It can't possibly be good or to be to be silly, but it just can't. I don't know what it's like. So no one knows what you're going through, but other people that have been sexually abused and physically abused. But we survive. I survived with my suicidal tendencies and that depression every day that I thought would never go away. And it didn't. Still hasn't. Hold on, I gotta shut my phone off. So I'm back. Hello. Thanks for watching, by the way, and staying with me. And I'm here to help. I'm doing this so I can help you because it's a desperate thing to be suicidal, and we got to reach out with that rope because you're kind of hanging off that cliff, and you're ready to let go, and we don't want you to. I don't want you to. I care about you. I don't know you, but there's a sense in my spirit that I care about you because I know what it's like to feel like killing yourself. And so let's talk about that a little bit. I shared in this last slide about my experience with suicide. Let me go in back into that a little bit and kind of replay some of it. But so after the big suicide attempt at age 12, I realized that I really had a problem. And so in the 70s, I'm 62. It would have been 73, maybe 72 when I had that attempt. 73, and so I was 12 years old, and no one knew about mental health at that time. We just had a really dim, murky image of mental health at that time, and we didn't know what to do. There were therapists, there were psychologists at that time, there weren't counselors. So, and it was taboo to go to a counselor, a psychotherapist, and I was scared to do it. Everybody was scared, and so what happened was eventually my parents sent me to my pastor or our pastor, and we sat there, and I had no words. I couldn't speak because when you're in immense amounts of pain and you're alone, you're isolated, and you're scared about killing yourself and what you did. I attempted it, a really really serious attempt. It wasn't just, I took 10 Tylenols. Um, Not to make light of that, but this was a big one. And so something really, it was an emergency, urgent, nuclear powered time to intervene. He spoke to me for an hour. He said nothing to help me. He asked me questions I couldn't answer, so I'm sure it was hard for him. And plus, at that time, it was hard to talk about it for anybody, professional or not. And his tools were God and prayer. And I'm sure he said that God was with me and I wasn't alone. Had didn't help at all, because for me, I was super alone, and God was way up there somewhere and was cold and dark, and actually didn't care because he didn't save me from suicidal attempt. And I thought he hated me anyways because of it. That was that. Remember that's the taboo. That's the Christian thinking right now, is you're going to hell. Well, I take offense to that, because if you believe in Jesus, just because you end your life, kill yourself, that's a sin. It is a sin. You're not supposed to kill. Thou shalt not kill. But in the Christian world, it's a sin, and they like to say that you're going to hell because you did this sin and you don't have time to repent and ask forgiveness after you're dead. My premise and thought is that God is the ultimate God of understanding and compassion. He knows what you're going through. He knows the misery you're going through. And how is he going to fault you for trying to end that pain? He cares intimately. Um, and I think I said that King David, the greatest king of Israel, said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why have you left me alone?" So he felt alone in his darkest times, and he was often depressed and sad and felt alone. Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Our greatest, the Savior, um, and God and man, at miraculously at one time, and he gave his life for us to bring us to him after we died. We die, and just faith in him is the way to receive that gift. You don't have to work for it, and so my firm belief is that he understands what you're going through, and he will carry you in his arms right to him, and no more pain, no more sorrow, no more physical issues, and no more abuse and poverty and loneliness. That does not mean, my friend, that you should kill yourself. It's not the answer. I'm not advocating that at all. I'm just giving you hope for a heavenly reward, heavenly perfect place. And because I know that doesn't help me want to kill myself more. Somehow it helps me stay alive more. I don't know why. Maybe it just gives me hope for a future. There's always that ultimate reward of being whole again and not hurting again. But somehow I stick it out. And I mentioned that my baseline is like depression. So when you don't have depression, your baseline's up here. Think of a line. And then when you are depressed, it can be anywhere down here. It can be really low when you're suicidal. And so I meds, therapy, yoga, mindfulness, grounding. At the moment, I really don't have more than a few friends, but they all live far away from me, so it's just text and phone. And I'm kind of a lonely guy. I isolate naturally because socialization is painful for me, because I often get hurt and people don't understand me. I know that I am weird. I'm eccentric. I can be abrasive. I can. Did you hear the phone text thing? I actually had to answer that. I was waiting for it. So I'm going to turn the phone off real quick. Um, so power off. When I powered it off, it had a red emergency thing, so I push it and goes to 911. Speaking of emergency, if you're in suicidal crisis right now, there's your number, 988. You can text it, you can call it. If you're comfortable texting as a kid, you'd rather just talk to somebody via text, that's okay too. But better to call and talk to a live person. You'll get a better feeling, and that one. And if you're a veteran, go over here. We love our veterans, and 22 veterans a day kill themselves. And a point to that is, hey, thank you, veterans, for your service and for your sacrifice, and for the horrible experiences you went through in warfare and for defending our country, defending freedom around the world. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have a country. So, but veterans are strong. They're the ultimate bad, bad, tough guys in our culture and really in any culture. They're trained to kill. They're trained to defend. They're trained to 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 be tough through anything, any emergencies. Tough enough to go into gunfire and stay there, not run away. So that takes training, and they're tough in mind, tough in body. They come home from war and they want to kill themselves. So does that make them weak? Does it? Think about it. They're not weak. They got traumatized. And it just doesn't drift away just because you came home and you're in a safe space, because they don't feel safe ever. And PTSD is about not feeling safe anywhere, and about having flashbacks and memories of this horrible experience of death and murder and explosions and blood that doesn't leave your mind. Your body's hypervigilant. You're looking around. No matter where you go, you're looking for the exit. How can I get out of this situation so something happened? You're trained to do that. So coming down from that traumatic experience takes professional help, generally speaking. And for veterans, it's very real, and they're not weak or defective or too sensitive. We know that. We know they're not. So veterans get that help. By the way, veterans, you're going to go with that 800 number, 888 number. You're just, is it 800? Nice, yeah, 800. Really, it's just going to go to the 9881. You can just call 988. I just put the veterans up there because I wanted to notice veterans and let you see that there is specific help for you. They'll put you in touch with someone who works with veterans. And if you're a kid or an adult who's suicidal, when you call that 988 number, they will connect you with a local center and local people that are trained to help you with your crisis. And you don't have to want to kill yourself. You could just be distressed and distraught and hopeless and depressed and lonely, and you lost a relationship, you broke up, you lost your job, got bullied at school. You can talk to them, and it's so helpful to talk. And I want to point out that while I was suicidal a bunch, until I got into the psych unit after a suicide attempt or trying to hurt myself seriously, um, I couldn't talk. I didn't have words. And that's such a natural response to trauma and danger. Our body, our word center of our brain shuts down, and you don't have words when you're afraid. You might make a scream when you're afraid, but you don't when you're running from an attacker or you're being chased by a bear, or the proverbial bear scenario, which none of us have been, most of us haven't been. When you're in that trauma, you don't start going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or start singing a lullaby or singing Britney Spears or Beyonce's song, Put a Ring on It. No, your word center goes, your body's in action. So I didn't have words, and I was scared to talk about this awful depression and suicidal tendencies. So I got in a group there in the psych unit. I was there for 30 days, and that saved my life, by the way. They found out I was bipolar, and they told me that. And I thought, no, it's a disorder, it's a disease, it's not me. And it's something you can address, you can attack and work with through professional help and meds and stuff. So it started out in group sessions with other people that felt like me and dealt with issues like me, and I finally felt safe enough to talk about it. And then did I start getting healing at that point when I started talking about it. So those group therapy sessions they're remarkable. AA, it's based on those group sessions and getting with people that are like you and understand your struggles and can relate, connect, and support you. Social support is a huge protective factor in mental health, and we need it. We need it no matter if we have mental health issues or not. You know that. We need somebody. Everybody needs somebody to love. As the Blues Brothers. Then there's another one. I won't go off into that. Somebody to love. Queen. Freddie Mercury. He didn't kill himself. Michael Jackson did. The king of pop, beloved around the world, killed himself. Okay, accidentally, maybe, probably, but he was medicating pain with a strong painkiller and put himself asleep forever. And so the best of us, the most talented of us, the most rich of us that have everything they want can feel that despair. And so money and even fame and praise doesn't solve anything. Um, so there you go. You're not alone. I think I mentioned that King David said, my God, why have you forsaken me? And why have you left me alone? Why are you not listening to me? And we feel like that. The greatest king of Israel was depressed and suicidal a variety of times, said, better if I wasn't born. Better if I died at birth. Oh, so a great man, a man after God's own heart, anointed as king and in the line of Messiah, gave us Jesus. So the best of us. Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me? And God had forsaken him at that moment, but then carried him in his arms after he died and resurrected. So we do go through those very real periods of despair, hopelessness, and loneliness, and we think God's abandoned us. It feels like that. Look, I know. It feels for so many years, not just days. For years, I just felt like God was way up here in a dark room and was looking at me kind of angry and didn't love me and watched me suffer and did nothing about it. And I was asking, why do you do this, God? Why do you leave me alone? And that's tough. And I didn't get a lot of comforts, but but I had to realize that I had to give him a chance, and I had to give him some faith and say, okay, God, I'm gonna give you a chance. I know I don't feel like you care. I feel like you hate me. You're ashamed of me. I'm a sinner. I'm lousy and cruddy and dirty, and you couldn't possibly love me. But I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna believe that you are there and you can help me, and I'm gonna ask you to help me. I'm gonna look for it. And that always calmed my heart. And generally things would happen, little things. Sometimes a smile, sometimes a howdy from somebody, phone call maybe. But a lot of times nothing happened. Zero. Nobody called. Nobody cared. And I couldn't talk about it, couldn't reach out. So there's a phenomenon of feeling alone and isolated if you've been sexually abused, especially and physically abused. You feel dirty. You feel like trash. Those that have been victimized by sexual abuse often feel like they're worthless and defiled at their core, at their soul. There's no redemption. They blame themselves. They must have done something to initiate the sexual assault. They're wearing the wrong clothes or acting flirtatious, something like that. In the wrong place. Never should have been at the bar. Never should have been in the basement with those guys that were doing the weed and drinking. And I knew they were frat boys and dangerous. So you can't blame yourself, but we do. We do. And we say God hates us and could never love us, but he gave Jesus to die for us and for our sins and redeem us. Um, I really didn't want to get into Jesus. I really don't want to preach to you, but it's a part of my life that has saved me. It has given me hope, and it still continues to give me hope even in my darkest times. He doesn't cure you necessarily or relieve you of the pain, any more than if you have a broken leg, you have to go to the hospital and get a cast. He doesn't just go, oh, I love you so much, I'm just going to heal that broken leg right now. No, we go through pain. Life is hard. Life is so shitty so often, and it's kind of like a marathon. You can give up and you don't get to see the prize at the end, or you can kill yourself, or medicate or avoid pain, instead of addressing it. You could walk around on that broken leg forever, and you could have pain, and you take a lot of Tylenols and ibuprofens, and maybe get on some painkillers, and then get addicted, and then ruin your life, and then overdose, like my ex-girlfriend did a couple of years ago, and because she had no hope, and she felt gross, she felt dirty from what she told me when we were together, and I felt awful horrible that I couldn't help her because we had broken up and I hadn't seen her in a couple of years. So I I wasn't there, and I wished I could have been there because I'm pretty sure I could have helped her. So call the crisis line if you are in crisis. You don't have to be suicidal. You can just get somebody to talk to. You can text or call. Veterans also. I don't know if I just said that. And do that. I will say that I've only called a crisis line a couple times. When you're in suicidal thoughts and intentions and plans, you often don't want to get help. You know that's the answer, and you don't want anybody talking you out of it. In fact, that's how I feel when I'm suicidal. But I ride that urge. You can surf that urge. Do something to self-soothe. Listen to music. I think I said this already. Have a good meal. Have some ice cream. Uh, Chocolate. Be good to yourself, whether you want to or not. Go for a walk, go for a run, go for a bike ride, do some yoga, do that deep breathing we talked about. We tried. Call a friend, journal, color a picture, paint, dance, watch a movie, go out and see the fresh air. Now, these aren't cures, but something that calms, soothes you, makes you feel better, can make you feel better for a little bit, maybe help you through it. Um, so hope this helped. I am going to sign off, and you can watch some other videos I have about my bipolar disorder and how I deal, and hopefully that helps too. And we'll see you again. Plan to make more videos, and leave your comments and questions below. No, I'm not your therapist. I can't be. You've got to get your own, but I'm willing to offer some support. Um, but I'd love to hear from you and see if this helped and what didn't, and maybe to improve for next time, and share if this will help. You want to get it out to as many people as possible. Thanks for listening, and best wishes to you in your journey, and stick with it because it can get better if you do the right things and make the right choices and get some help. Bye bye.